So if you've ever wondered why the traffic is so bad in Atlanta, it's because of racism. And this book really breaks down, like, the last three books that I have, there are books that I feel like everyone should read at least once in their lifetime. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Janika. I hope everyone's day is going extremely well. Mine is. So with the end of the year coming up, I thought it would be a great idea to let you guys know 15 life-changing books that I've read in 2021. Some books I read, but most of the books I listen to on the Scribd app, which is, it has books, audiobooks, the whole nine. But I like to listen to books because I don't really listen to music like that. I don't watch TV like that. If I have idle time to just like sit around or even driving in my car, I'm listening to an audiobook. This list of 15 books that I've read are in no particular order at all. They are just books that I truly enjoy. Don't need to put my reading glasses on for this. So I will start with the book that I'm currently reading, which I already read last year, but I'm rereading it at the request of someone else. And it's called The Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. This is the author who wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And a lot of people have heard of that book, but they just haven't read it. So it's the same author. Mind you, two of his books are going to be on this list. So the first one is The Cash Flow Quadrant. And basically with that book, he says that people who are working for money are divided into four categories, or the four quadrants. We have the employee, the self-employed, the big business owner, which means your company has 500 or more employees, and then an investor. So he's saying basically he's trying to help people who are on the right side of the quadrant, which are employees and the self-employed people, move over to the left side of the quadrant, which is big business and an investor. And he's basically breaking down the difference between the four and giving tips for those who want to make it from the right side get to the left side. Before we go any further, let me know down in the comments below, what books have you read in 2021 that were life-changing for you? I need some more book ideas for 2022. So also, if you're into self-care tips and reviews, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and go ahead and give this video a like. The next book was super interesting to me. It's called White Flight by Kevin M. Kruse. So if you've ever wondered why the traffic is so bad in Atlanta, it's because of racism. And this book really breaks down like why the traffic is so bad, why the city is so split. It is coined the city that's too busy to hate. He breaks down exactly what white flight is, which is basically white people moving out of their homes, out of their neighborhoods, to different homes in different neighborhoods when they see black people starting to infiltrate their neighborhoods. So of course, white people believe that when black people start to move into their neighborhoods, the value of their property will start to decrease. And so they end up heading north and leaving the black people in the south, right? It explains how interstates were specifically and strategically placed in the middle of black neighborhoods to make it harder for the black people to get up north to where the white people are. There is a reason why North Atlanta is vastly different demographically than the South, the West End, and East Atlanta. The next book, I actually just did a video on it because it resonated so well with me. It was so informative, and I'll link that in the top right corner. You'll be able to see it, but it's titled 101 Questions You Should Ask in Your 20s and Let's Be Honest, Your 30s Too by Paul Angone. I don't know if I said his last name correctly, so please forgive me, but he's so sweet. The author, I actually had to reach out to him on Instagram and thank him for writing this book because it is so helpful. This book is so important for those in our 20s and our 30s because it forces you to remember and realize that you are exactly where you're supposed to be in life right now for a reason, and everything that's happened to you in the past is preparing you for the person you are right now and the person you will become in the future. The next book we have is The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. I also did a review on this book and I'll link that in the top right corner. I know a lot of people say that people treat you the way that they feel about you, and that is true to a certain extent, but I also believe that people treat you the way that they feel about themselves. If they are insecure, if they are unhappy within themselves, they're going to lash out and they're going to find something about you that they're envious about and take their anger out on you because you are exemplifying something that they wish that they could or they wish that they had. Whatever. You don't know what someone is dealing with personally in their own mind, in their own head, and it's not your business to figure out if they don't want to tell you. All you can do is realize like you're doing the best that you can, you continue to be a great person, and you don't take anything personally, not even the good things people say to you. The next book is called Set Boundaries, Find Peace. I'm smiling because this is one of my favorite books I read this year. It's by Nedra Glover Tawwab. I don't know if I'm saying her name correctly either, so please forgive me, but oh my gosh, when I say needed, y'all, this book was so needed for me. It resonated with me because I struggle with setting boundaries with my friends, with my family, with relationships. It really broke down the things that you can do to learn how to set boundaries and the reasons why it may have been harder for you to learn how to set boundaries. And she really like walks you through boundary setting tips. So if you are like me and you still struggle with setting boundaries when it comes to relationships, friendships, family members, whatever, I absolutely encourage you to read this book. You will get a lot of information. Next is The 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma. This was super. This was one of the most life-changing, all these books life-changing, but this was one of these super most life-changing books for me because I definitely have started to wake up earlier. I'm realizing the benefits of waking up early. I realized waking up earlier was the key point in getting a lot of things done and being a lot more productive. So I would absolutely credit my productivity to this book, The 5 a.m. Club. Next, we have The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. And another book that I've read before, but I had to reread it this year. It's one of the books that I read every year because it's similar to Think and Grow Rich, which is another book I've read this year, but I read that every year, which is why it's not on this list. The Secret is basically the law of attraction. It's basically saying your thoughts are so powerful, and whatever you believe you can do, whatever you think about, whatever you can manifest and truly have faith that it can happen for you, it will happen for you. Next is The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity by Edwene Gaines. What I got from this book out of everything was to tithe and be happy about tithing. Like actually look forward to tithing. Every time that you tithe 10%, you get rewarded double the amount or even more. So the first law is to tithe. The other 3 laws are to set clear-cut, tangible goals, forgive everyone for everything, always, including yourself, and seek, discover, and follow your life's purpose. Next, now y'all know I love Oprah. Y'all probably don't know that, but I love Oprah, okay? Love me some Oprah. And one of my favorite books by her is called The Path Made Clear. Specifically chapter 9, when she talks about the way money flows to you, how money is an energy source, and as long as you're doing what you love, as long as you are doing what you feel like your purpose and your passion is, the money will flow to you. And that was such a big lesson for me to learn in 2021, to stop chasing money and start chasing my purpose, start chasing my passion, doing things that I love, and the money will come. And honestly, that has been happening for me. When I tell you, I have no worries in the world because I truly trust and believe that whatever is meant to happen for me is going to happen for me and my greater good. And I'm doing whatever I can to put out good energy in the world, so I know that whatever I put out, whether it's money, good energy, good vibe, love, happiness, joy, whatever I put out, I'm going to receive that back in return. The next book, I know I said I didn't want to put Think and Grow Rich in here because that's just like a book everyone should read. I don't want to say everyone, but like that's a book that everyone has read and everyone talks about. However, did you know that they have a Think and Grow Rich, a Black choice? So yes, basically it's the same concept as Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, but with Dennis Kimbro. He took that concept of like white people and their businesses, and he focuses on Black people who did what they can to build large, successful, profitable businesses. And he talks about Oprah, Spike Lee, Jesse Jackson, and other Black millionaires and billionaires who have put in the work, had their ideas, allowed their ideas to come into fruition, and made money off of it. It's an amazing book. It's very inspirational. If you are looking for books about Black people who have succeeded, have been successful, 10 out of 10, absolutely recommend you go and read this book. Next, we have The 50th Law by Robert Greene and 50 Cent. So Robert Greene is the man who wrote the 48 Laws of Power. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of that book. But with this one, The 50th Law, this one talks about 50 Cent's one principle to how he became successful, and that is to fear nothing. Of course, we know 50 Cent was shot 9 times, and instead of just cowering back and removing himself from the spotlight, just trusting himself and knowing that as long as he shows that he ain't scared, like he can do whatever he want to do, which he can because he 50 Cent. Like, so yeah, overcoming fear is definitely something that I've been working on as far as launching businesses, quitting my job, focusing on trying to be a straight entrepreneur. It's fear involved in that, and I've been having to overcome those mental hurdles. So reading that book absolutely helped me try to put some fears I had to the side. Of course, it's not like all gone. Of course, a book just doesn't work like that. I'm probably gonna have to read more books or reread this one, but it's definitely putting the pieces in my head to not fear success or failure as much. Next is Shoe Dog, written by Phil Knight, and it basically tells the story of Nike, how he was fresh out of business school and he borrowed $50 from his father, and his goal was to get high quality, low cost shoes imported from Japan to America. And we all know the story of Nike. I'm sure we all own a pair of Nikes. Very inspirational story. I love reading biographies and documentary type books that break down how a person came from nothing to something. So if you were interested in how Nike came about, absolutely recommend that book. The next is a book that everyone should read, The Alchemist. So these are the last 3 books that I have. There are books that I feel like everyone should read at least once in their lifetime because they are like 3 of the top best-selling books in the world. And the first one is The Alchemist. One of my favorite books, written by Paulo Coelho. I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly, so please forgive me. It tells the story of Santiago, who's a shepherd boy who is on a quest to find his personal legend. So he travels all the way to the ancient pyramids of Egypt because of a dream that he had that a treasure would be at these ancient pyramids in Egypt. Just for him to make it all the way to those pyramids in Egypt, and the treasure was not there. The real treasure was the journey and the wisdom he gained along the way, as well as finding love in a woman named Fatima. He eventually finds the real treasure he was looking for, and it was buried exactly in the place where he had the dream to go and search for the treasure in the first place, right in his own backyard. The next book is The Richest Man in Babylon. I got 6 great tips from that book that has helped me in 2021 and will continue to help me in 2022 and for the rest of my life. So those 6 things that I learned from this book is: 1, invest 10% of your income. It don't even matter if you only made $1 that day. Take 10 cents out of it and put it into a permanent savings account that you will never touch until you retire. Number 2 is to control your expenses, budget, and track your money. 3 is to invest. 4 is to keep learning. Never stop learning, never stop reading, never stop wanting to know information. 5 is to avoid gambling. And 6 is to set up passive income. And last but not least, I saved it to the end because I feel like I thought like everyone had already read this book or heard of this book. I actually wasn't going to include this on my list, but I found out there's a good amount of people that don't really know about this book and have not read this book. But it's Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Y'all, I'm telling y'all, Robert Kiyosaki is one of the best authors there is. Like, I encourage all y'all to read all of his books. Now, in Rich Dad Poor Dad, he basically talks about how he has a rich dad, which is his friend's dad, and a poor dad, which is his actual dad. He talks about the lessons that he learned from both fathers to help him become the person who he is today. His poor dad wasn't technically poor, but he did have a poor mindset that hindered him from setting up and establishing generational wealth for his kids. His rich dad, on the other hand, had a very rich mindset, and the things that he was able to teach him in terms of real estate and what wealthy people do and how to become wealthy and set up generational wealth for families, he was able to learn that from his rich dad and develop that rich mindset for himself. So that's all I have for you guys today. I think next week I'm going to do my top 10 books written by Black authors that I read this year. Very interesting, so stay tuned for that. Again, let me know down in the comments if you've read any of these books. What are your thoughts on some of these books? And do you have any other books that you think that I should go ahead and read for 2022? Let me know down in the comments below, and I will see y'all next time.